Okay. Good evening, and you are welcome to Culture Share Germany. This is the second edition of the program. It's organized by the Office of International Student Success under the Multicultural Center. And our first edition was just last month, and we had Nigerian students sharing their culture with us. This time we have these amazing ladies next to me from Germany, and they're going to tell us everything we want to know about Germany. If you have questions, they would answer. There are no limits. I'm kidding, there are limits. Okay, so thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoy the program. So I'll hand over to, so your names Leslie, Yana, and Eva. They'll take over now.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I'm really sorry about all the technical difficulties we've had so far. And now hopefully everything will go smoothly from now on. So, but yeah, we need to change view. But yeah, Jana will start now with some general information about Germany.
So hello and thanks for coming. So we want to start every topic with a little quiz. There it is. So we have 3 topics for 3 questions for each topic. So the first one is the Federal Republic of Germany, which is the official name of Germany, was founded in 1871, 1945, or 1990. That's something for the people that are here in person. Do you know?
And I guess the people on Zoom can also answer if they want to, but they would have to speak up because we can't see the comments. So if anybody knows the answer, feel free. Or you can just guess.
No. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was after the Berlin Wall. It was after the Berlin Wall fall, but Leslie will talk about it more later. And which is Germany's capital? Is it Berlin, Bonn, or Munich? Berlin. Yeah, that's right. And Angela Merkel is Chancellor since 2005, 2013, or 2017. What do you know? No. 2005. Yeah, 2005. So she's Chancellor since 16 years now. So now we want to keep on with some facts and figures. So as we already found out, Germany was officially unified on October 3rd, 1990, and we still celebrate this day as German Unity Day. The capital is Berlin, and about 81 million people live on an area of 138 square miles. Germany has 20 inhabited islands. That's what not many people know. And it has 16 federal states. Chancellors, as we said, Angela Merkel, and the largest city are Berlin in the east, Munich in the south, and Frankfurt in the middle of the country. And just for your information, I'm from the west. I live near Cologne, and Eva and Leslie are from the south near Stuttgart. And here you can see the size of Germany compared to the east coast of the US. It's actually pretty small. Not many people know that it's that small, but yeah, that's how it is. And we have some fun facts. So as you probably know, Germany, or the Autobahn in Germany, which is like the German highway, doesn't have a speed limit on like 65%. So you're allowed to drive as fast as you want to. And it's actually a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it. It's fun. But there are not as many accidents because of this as people might guess. So yeah. And another fact is that there's no punishment for a prisoner if they escape prison, because it's considered a basic human instinct to be free. The prisoner can only be punished for crimes they did during the time they broke out, but not for the escape itself. Then legal drinking age for beer and wine is 16. And for everything else, it's 18, which is pretty nice sometimes. So yeah, it's good. And I like that there was like that you start slow and are allowed to drink more when you're older. I think that's a pretty good thing. And then there's that one thing called Lüften, which is really important for Germans. It's basically like open all your windows, sometimes also your doors, so that the wind goes all through your apartment or through your house, and that you always have nice air in it. Yeah. Okay, so now we want to talk about language, and yeah, Leslie will tell you a little about it.
Okay, yes. Hello, I'm Leslie. I'm going to be talking about language. Let's start with a quiz again. So we have this word in Germany. It's handy. So we actually say the word handy. And what do you guys think it means? Do you think it's the same as in English? Or does it mean cell phone? Or does it mean glove?
I really want it to mean glove.
No. Yes, it actually means cell phone. So we have some weird translations of, it's like sometimes we use English words in a completely different context, but yeah. And then what do you think is the second most common language spoken in German homes out of the three that are shown here? That's actually false. So it's actually, it's Russian, yes. Okay, and this language is the most similar to German. What do you think? Yes, that's correct. Okay. Okay, so after Brexit, Germany is now the most common native tongue in the European Union. Before that, it was English, but ever since Britain left, it is no longer the most common language. And there are some countries where German is spoken either as a main language or as a recognized language, and these include, of course, Germany, then Austria, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Luxembourg. And then there are also some border regions in France and Italy where people also speak German. And next, you can see a map of Germanic languages. And like whatever's in green, that is German, the blue part is English. But so you can see, I mean, it might be a little hard to see because the dots are really small, but there are some green dots that show regions where a minority of people speak German. For example, you can see here in Namibia, there are some German speakers. And then in North America, there are some minority German speakers as well. And, oops. Okay, now I have a challenge for you guys. There are some German words on the slides, and I want one of you to try saying them because we love compound words in Germany. So like most of these words we actually use a lot, especially the second word. I do use that word a lot. So who wants to try? Okay.
Right?
Well, that was pretty good. So it's Streichholzschächtelchen. And like you can see, it means, it's like a cute word for matchbox. Okay, who wants to try the second word? Okay. Yeah, that was pretty good. So it's Immatrikulationsbescheinigung, and it means certificate of enrollment. And then the third word, does anybody want to try? Just try it. Maybe you'll get it. Okay, well, I can say too. So it's Kraftfahrzeughaftpflichtversicherung, and it means auto liability insurance. Then the fourth word is Nahrungsmittelunverträglichkeit, and it means food intolerance. And on the next slide, don't be scared. So the word on the next slide, it's really, really long. It's the longest German word, but we actually don't really use it. I just thought it was fun to show you guys, and maybe somebody wants to try saying it. So that is the word. And yeah, so it's the longest German word with 80 letters, but it is unclear if this word was ever actually used, but it exists. So does anybody want to try say it? It's really hard. It's like even hard for us. So, okay, I'm just gonna say this word because it's really hard. So I don't know if any of you can say that. So it's Donau-Dampfschifffahrts-Elektrizitäten-Hauptbetriebswerkbau unter Beamtengesellschaft. And it means Association for Subordinate Officials of the Main Maintenance Building of the Danube Steam Shipping Electrical Services. And like I said, I don't even know if anybody ever actually used this word. And then even though Germany is really small, we have around 20 different dialects. And the picture that you can see, it shows the word for potato, which is Kartoffel. And there is a bunch of different dialects. So for example, where I'm from, a lot of people, or at least older people, they would say Krummbiere or Krummbiere. And for example, Jana's from, some people would say Ad. And it's just a bunch of different things that people refer to it as. And then the most proper German is spoken in Hanover. And that's where you can see where it says Kartoffel. So that's where the most proper German is spoken. And then even among like the three of us, we sometimes have like some funny misunderstandings due to our different dialects. Like sometimes Jana won't understand a word that I'm saying and vice versa. Okay. Then there are also some other languages other than German spoken in Germany, such as Danish and Frisian, which is similar to Dutch. And then there's also Sorbian, which is a type of Slavic language. And then, like I said in the quiz earlier, there are some languages spoken at home. So there are about 3 million people that speak Russian at home and 2 million people that speak Turkish at home. But that doesn't mean that there are only 3 and 2 million speakers of that language. That just means that's like the language spoken at home by those people. But in a lot of German households, people will also switch between German and another language. And there are also some other minority languages, such as Polish, Kurdish, Italian, and Greek, and Arabic, Dutch, Croatian, Serbian, Spanish, and English. So there are a lot of different languages that are spoken at home. Okay. And then languages similar to German, like we said before, Dutch is the most similar with about 75% of vocabulary that's similar to ours. And then Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian have about 60% similar vocabulary. And English actually has 40% similar vocabulary since it's a Germanic language. Okay. And then, like I said earlier, we have some false translations, such as handy being actually in English being cell phone. And then for like a projector, we refer to it as a beamer. And then we have like these outdoor viewing parties of soccer games. And in Germany, we call them public viewings. And I've heard here it means something completely different. Apparently, I don't know. Do any of you guys have heard of the term public viewing before? No? So I have read that here it means like publicly viewing like a coffin of a person. So yeah, so we have a totally false translation of that. And then to like vintage cars, we refer to them as old timers. And then if somebody's being bullied, we say they're being mobbed. And then there are also some official words that we use so that we actually use them like they're recognized in our language, such as internet, manager, club, team, fair, and pool. And then there are also some slang words such as cool and nice. And then on social media, a lot of times we will use like a mixture of German and English. So we will say liken, sharen, and haten. Yeah. Oh, and next, Eva is going to talk to you about architecture in Germany.
Hey all. So we start off with a quiz again. What kind of ruins can you find in Germany? Greek ruins, Roman ruins, or Aztecs? Aztec ruins, sorry about the pronunciation. What do you think? Yes, right. And how long did it take to build the Cologne Cathedral? 127 years, 375 years, or 632 years? That's right. No, actually it took 632 years. And that's because they started like already very early together there, like where the Cologne Cathedral is today. And then they stopped building it over 300 years. And then they started to rebuild. They started to build it again. And finally, like 632 years later, they finished it. And last question, how many castles exist in Germany? 53, 640, or 2,100? Yes, that's right. Good job. So I'll just show you a few pictures of some popular cities in Germany. Some of you might already have visited, I don't know. So we have like a lot of historic buildings and old towns in Germany, but also modern buildings. So here's some examples from Cologne. So this is the cathedral on the left side, and then Pik and Cloppenburg, and another architectural building, VDR from Cologne. Berlin, we already talked about that. So, oops, sorry about that. So we have the TV tower in the middle, and then the popular Brandenburg Gate on the left side, and Castle Bellevue on the right side. Munich, some of you might have seen the soccer stadium on the right side, which is pretty famous. And then there's also the Marienburg place, like Plaza, on the left side. And in the middle, we have, got it again. Do you remember the middle? Sorry, forgot about the middle picture. Sorry, I'll tell you later. Sorry. And then we have Hamburg, the port. You can see the port of Hamburg, like on this picture. And then, oh no, I'm lost. And then the Elbphilharmonie on the lower picture. And there are some old towns, Rothenburg here, Heidelberg in the middle, like you can see the river here, and we have a lot of bridges too. And here's the castle of Heidelberg. And this is Dinkelsbühl, like this is like most of the old towns look like that. And when we started like talking about this presentation, we actually found out that all of us live in a little village or small town where we have Roman ruins. So these three buildings here are actually where we are from. So Kastelwelsheim, Burg Neuhaus in Igersheim, and then like the Stadtmauer Neuss. Probably all of you have heard about Schloss Neuschwanstein, Castle Neuschwanstein, I guess. So the actual translation is New Swanstone. The construction started in 1868, and it was built for only one person this time, the King Ludwig II. And he actually slept only 11 nights in the castle. And there is no throne in the castle because he moved out before they actually could finish building it. And it's one of the most photographed buildings in the world. And Disneyland has a Sleeping Beauty castle, which is built like inspired by the NEUSCHWANSTEIN castle. And I'm not sure if you heard about Legoland in Günzburg, which is like, do you know Lego? So it's a whole park built of Lego. And this building on the right side is Castle NEUSCHWANSTEIN, built out of Lego in this park. Some more pictures of castles: Hohenzollern, Schwerin, Heidelberg, and Elst Castle. This is some pictures of us in front of the architecture. So Leslie actually has visited a lot of castles already in Germany, and I'm here in Berlin. Okay. I hope you got like some impressions how architecture, old towns look like in Germany. And Jana will follow up with sport.
Yes, so now we want to talk a little about sport. And what do you guys think is the most popular sport in Germany? Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I'm pretty sure you all know Dirk Nowitzki. So he retired 2 years ago, but what sportsman was he? What did he do? He's really tall. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he was a basketball player in the NBA. And when were the last Olympic Games in Germany? No, that was Atlanta. No, it was 1972 in Munich. So as you already said, soccer is the most popular sport in Germany, and about 8% are a member in a soccer club. There are more than 2,200 leagues on up to 13 levels all over the country. It's so many because there are like the big leagues like the Bundesliga, but also many like small regional leagues, and almost 32,000 teams participate in all those leagues. The national teams, like the national men team and the national women team, are really successful. They won the World Cup and the European Championships already a few times. It's especially, the women are especially good. So they won the European Championship already 8 times, although the first one was just 30 years ago. So yeah, it's a pretty good thing for them. And so in Germany, we also like outdoor viewing parties a lot. They're a really, really big deal, especially during championships. So many people come together. There's a huge screen, sometimes even more. And people sing chants and songs similar to like when they were in the stadium. And we actually have a little video for this. So this video shows the reaction in a stadium.
Hoch da, Schweinsteiger. Total angenehm. Wie lange geht das noch so weiter in der Endlosschleife der Kanzlerin?
With some friends. And three really famous German soccer clubs are FC Bayern Munich, which is also considered one of the most successful of the world. Then we have Borussia Dortmund and Schalke 04. Here you can see 4 German or former German soccer players. They all won the World Cup together. So you can see Lukas Podolski on the left, on the top left, and Miroslav Klose on the top right. jedoch. And Bastian Schweinsteiger on the bottom on the right. They all retired from the national team a few years ago, but I think some or one is still active. And on the bottom left, you can see Manuel Neuer, who's still the keeper, and now he's also the captain of the German soccer team. Then we want to talk about Formula One. So they're really famous and successful German drivers like Michael Schumacher, Sebastian Vettel and Nico Rosberg. Especially Michael Schumacher is one of the best Formula One drivers ever. So he set a few records, and yeah, people still like know him. And the German Grand Prix is often held at the Hockenheimring, which is like in the middle of the country. And in the early 2000s, an average of 2 million people sat in front of the TV to watch Formula One, which is like a lot if you think that only about 80 million people live in the country. And it was especially the era of Michael Schumacher and his brother. So now we want to tell you about a third sport, which is horse riding. So there are almost 4 million riders in Germany, and most of the show riders are dressage riders. Especially successful riders are Isabel Wert, who is also the most successful rider on the world, and Ingrid Klimke and Ludger Beerbaum. And then we have the CHIO or CHIO in Aachen every year, and it's the world's biggest equestrian tournament. And then there's also the Hamburg Derby, which is considered the most difficult jumping event in the world. And you can also see a picture of it on the right side. You can see the big wall, and it's a few meters high, and it's hard for everyone competing in this course. Other sports that Germans like to compete in are tennis, where Steffi Graf and Boris Becker won Wimbledon in the 90s. And nowadays, Angelique Kerber and Alexander Zverev are the best German tennis players. And Alexander Zverev is also the 6th in the world ranking at the moment. Then we have handball, beach volleyball, and gymnastics, and basketball, like I said, Dirk Nowitzki. So he retired 2019 and played his entire 29-year NBA career with the Dallas Mavericks. For hobbies, Germans like to do cycling, which is a really, really big thing in Germany, Nordic walking or jogging, skittles, which is similar to bowling, just the ball and the pins are a little different. And we like to go to the gym. Okay, now Leslie will tell you something about food, because we have many different foods in Germany, not just typical German food, but also from other countries.
All right, so another quiz. What do you think, which of those first foods is from Germany? This one's pretty easy. Yeah, schnitzel. So, what do you think, which one is the most popular street food in Germany? Yes, it's the döner. And then what do you think, how many types of sausage do we have? Correct. You're really good at this. Okay, so here you can see like a typical breakfast table. Usually what we do, we kind of do like a brunch style. So we just put a bunch of stuff on the table, and then everybody can just pick whichever food they like. And then there's like a selection of different things. There's like a bread basket with like bread and pretzels and bread rolls and croissants. And we have like different types of spreads like Nutella and cream cheese and butter, and different toppings like cheese, egg, cucumber. And one really like popular sandwich that we have is putting butter and cucumber and put some salt on top, and it's really good. And then we just have like the typical breakfast drinks. It's really similar to the US, like we have juice and coffee and tea. And then some other people, they also have like cereals in the mornings or yogurt with fruit. And next, I wanted to talk about bread because we really love bread in Germany. We can't live without our bread. Eva, for example, she missed German bread so much, she makes her own bread every Sunday. And according to the German Bread Institute, there are over 3,000 different types of bread in Germany. And according to them, bread can only have up to 10% of sugar and fat. Otherwise, it's called a fine baked good. And you can find a bread box, which is right here, like in the second picture shows a bread box. And you can find that in almost every German household because we need to keep our bread fresh. Next, I'm going to show some popular food. Some of it might be weird to you guys. So the picture in the right corner, for example, that is a Mettbrötchen. And it consists of raw pork with lots of spices and onion. I personally have never had it, but I heard that it's supposed to be really good. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. They say it's good, but I don't know about that. And then on the bottom, you can see it's called Himmel und Erd, which means heaven and earth. And it consists of potato puree and minced apples. So the potatoes are supposed to be the earth because they're also called earth apples. And then the apples signify like the heaven because they grow on the trees. And it's often served with blood sausage. And then you can also see potato pancakes, and we usually serve them with applesauce or sour cream. And on top, you can see the schnitzel that we talked about earlier, and that's usually served with lemon. All right, next there's some more food. The first picture on the left top, that is Spätzle and Maultaschen, and that's my favorite dish. It's from the south, and Spätzle, like the thing on the plate to the left, is called Spätzle, and it's a type of homemade pasta. And Maultaschen, they're similar to dumplings, and there's actually a pretty funny story about them, or a legend, I guess. So there used to be apparently a monk, and he invented this dish. And it was during the time of fasting before Easter when you weren't allowed to eat meat. So he apparently, like according to the legend, he hid the meat inside of the pasta so that God wouldn't see. But that's just a legend. I don't know if it's true. And then this next picture shows a typical Bavarian breakfast, which is a pretzel with white sausage and mustard. Then you can see some fish bread or fish sandwiches, and they are really popular in the north of Germany. On the bottom, you can see a soup with cheese and leeks, and then you can see a potato salad, and almost every German grandma has her own potato salad recipe, and usually she's really proud of it. And the last picture shows a dish that I've never had personally, so I forgot what it's called, but it's kale and potatoes and some sort of spiced sausage. And it's popular in Jana's region, I think, or maybe not. Okay, and now I wanted to talk about street food and restaurants in Germany. So like we already said, Döner is like really popular as street food in Germany. And it was popularized by Turkish immigrants. And then some other popular street food is currywurst, which is sausage with ketchup and curry, which is the picture on the top. And there are also some restaurants that are popular in Germany, such as Italian, Greek, Chinese, and German restaurants. And Italian restaurants are actually more popular in Germany than German restaurants. We really love Italian food. Okay, finally, I wanted to show some dessert to make you guys hungry. So the first picture is a Frankfurter Kranz, which is a type of cake. The second picture is a Donauwelle. It's supposed to show like the waves of the Danube River. And I actually made that one. And so you can see the waves as well, but it was still really good. And the third picture, does anyone want to guess what that is? Okay, so it looks like pasta, but actually, so it's called spaghetti ice cream, but it's not actually spaghettis, it's vanilla ice cream that looks like spaghettis, and it has like a berry sauce on top. So yeah, it's really popular in Germany and it looks weird, but it's really good. And the last picture is a Black Forest cherry cake. All right, and lastly, I'm gonna talk a little bit about beer and wine. So we have a lot of wineries and vineyards in Germany, and the most popular German wine is Riesling, which is also my favorite type of wine. And then in Bavaria, beer is actually recognized as a food, which is pretty funny. But however, the most beer is consumed in Czechia, and it's followed by Austria and then by Germany. So we don't actually drink as much beer as people say. But there are around 1,500 breweries in Germany. Okay, next, Jana is going to talk about some movies and entertainment in Germany.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so first we have a little tricky question because all the actors are German speakers, but who from them is actually from Germany? Do you know? No. Yeah, that's true. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Christoph Waltz are actually from Austria, but Dan Krüger is from Germany. And we know that Leonardo DiCaprio likes young models, but who did he not date?
So those
What do you think?
German models.
Yeah, they're all German models. So he didn't actually date Heidi Klum. She's probably too old. I don't know. And then, which kind of movies do Americans especially like? Like, do they like German action movies, comedies, or German war dramas? Yeah, that's true. They really like German war dramas about World War II and the time after it. Okay, so here you can see a few German movies that were really successful, not just in Germany, but also worldwide. There we have Goodbye Lenin or The Wave, which that are movies which are about World War II or like something that has to do with it. And then there's also Toni Erdmann, which is a drama, Honig im Kopf, it's like honey in the head. It's a really good movie. It's sad because the grandpa, he has Alzheimer, and the little girl, she's traveling with him, but it's really nice. And then we have Fuck You Goethe, which is a comedy playing in a school. And then we have some German actors. We have Elias Mbarek on the left. He played in Fuck You Goethe. We have Till Schweiger and Matthias Schweighöfer, who are not just famous actors, but also directors and producers. So they have a lot to do with movies. And on the right, you can see a few actors named Jella Hase, Elias Mbarek again, Caroline Herford, Florian David Fitz, and Frederick Lau. I'm pretty sure you don't know any of them, but they're really famous and well known in Germany. And we also have movies and people from Germany going to Hollywood. So as we already said, Americans like especially movies about World War II or the German Democratic Republic. Examples are movies Das Boot or Lola Rent. Then we have German actors in Hollywood like Dan Krüger, Daniel Brühl, Michael Fassbender. And we know that they're not German, but we put them in there, Christoph Waltz and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you might not have heard about Hans Zimmer, but he's a film composer, and he was part on The Lion King, Pirates of the Caribbean, or the Dark Knight trilogy. And Roland Emmerich is a film director who directed White House Down, Godzilla, or Independence Day. And here you can see the German actors. So Daniel Brühl I was a part in Goodbye Lenin, The First Avengers, or Captain America. Michael Fassbender played in Inglourious Basterds or X-Men, just like Diane Kruger. And Christoph Waltz also played in Inglourious Basterds. And Christoph Waltz also played in Django Unchained next to Leonardo DiCaprio, and in James Bond next to Daniel Craig. And Arnold Schwarzenegger was seen in Terminator and True Lies. Then we also have other people, then actors, going to the USA, like Heidi Klum, who was a model in the 90s, and now you can see her in the jury of America's Got Talent or Project Runway. And we have Claudia Schiffer, Tony Gunn, and Lorena Ray, which are also models. Jürgen Klinsmann, who was the national soccer coach of the US 2011 to 2016, and Karl Lagerfeld, who was a famous German designer. And now we want to show you a trailer from a German Netflix series called Dark. It's available on Netflix, even in the USA, and also in English. So if you like the trailer, feel free to.
Erneut ist in der Kleinstadt Winden ein Junge auf mysteriöse Weise verschwunden.
Nichts. Wie vom Erdboden verschluckt.
Wir werden ihn finden. Vielleicht. Vielleicht auch nicht.
In dieser Stadt ist nichts normal. Und wir alle sind ein Teil davon.
Die Frage ist nicht, wer die Kinder entführt hat, sondern wann.
Yeah, so that's the trailer for the first season. And now Eva wants to tell you something about business and education in Germany.
Some of you want to like watch Dark, it's on Netflix, so it's really good. So we start off with a quiz again. So which brand is not from Germany? Adidas, Puma, or Volvo? Yes, that's right. It's actually Swedish. Yeah. Good. How old are kids in kindergarten? 5 years old, 3 to 6 years old, 2 years old. 6. Yes, that's right. It's different to the US, right? So kindergarten is earlier. Which is the best grade you can get in school? Is it 1, 4, or 6? 6 is actually failed, like it's the worst. It's the worst grade you can get. 1 is the best grade you can get. So I'll show you later, wait. So 1 is excellent, is the best one. 2 is overall good, like very good. 3 is good, okay. 4 is adequate. Usually you need a 4 to pass the test. 5 sufficient. Some schools allow 5 to pass, and 6 is insufficient, it's failed. So it's compulsory to go to school until you're 16 years old. And the school system is regulated by federal states, same like in the US. And usually we don't have honors or advanced like courses or classes. So it's the same education for all kids. And I guess a big difference is that we don't have like a big school spirit. So there's not as many clubs in school, not that many sports or music you can do in school. It's all like separately from school. Kids do that, but not with the school. So I think that's why, or that's one reason why the school spirit is a little like less than it is here in the US. So when I thought about what to tell you about the educational system, like the school system, I found this picture here, which looks like very complicated, and it actually is a little complicated. So I tried to sum it up easier. So there is preschool, which is called Krippe or kindergarten. So kids go to Krippe usually at the age of 1 or 2, and they start kindergarten at the age of 3. And then they start school at the age of 6, called Grundschule. It is from 1st to 4th grade. And then we have kind of like a secondary school, so which is middle and high school combined. And there are 3 ways of doing that basically, depending on the level of the degree of the level of learning. So you can get a degree after 5 years, which is from 5th to 9th grade. And then you can get another degree after 6 years, which is from 5th to 10th grade. And for going to college, you need, it's called Abitur. So you need to go to, it's not the right translation, but kind of high school. And you can get the degree after 7 or 8 years. So you go there from 5th to 12th grade. But there are also like other ways to do that. You can also go first to Realschule, like the middle thing, and then you can further educate yourself and do it at another path, like say like this, go to college. And I guess college system, you can get a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, or a doctoral PhD, like same as here. One big difference for colleges or universities is that it's not that expensive. So you have a small tuition and fees, but basically it's free, except of private schools.
So the school certificate is called degree there.
Sorry, what was that?
Like you said, a degree after 6 years, like 5th to 10th grade. So is it a degree or a certificate?
You get a degree, but you cannot go to college.
You call it degree.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's confusing because like in India, like from the school, you just get a certificate. So degree is like when you graduate or something and you're in college.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you get like. Yeah, maybe it's a little difficult to translate, but you get a degree, you can work after. So it's just you cannot go to college. So probably some of you know some German brands. So car manufacturers are pretty popular in Germany. So we have BMW, we have Volkswagen, we have Porsche. Others, Aldi, we have one in Johnson City too. We have SAP, Siemens, tech companies, Bosch. Yeah. DHL is a logistic company. So I'm not sure if some of you have like been in a global business class. So if you talk about business in different countries, usually there's a way to access like different cultures. And I just wanted to show you like the difference between doing business in Germany and the US, like different management styles. Basically, it's kind of similar at all dimensions, except of persuading. So according to Aaron Meyer, which is the author of this culture map, Germans build up an argument. So we don't state the argument first and back it up with examples. We start with the principles and the examples and say the argument at the end and state the argument at the end. And according to him, it's like different in the US. So you would state the argument first and then back it up with some examples and principles. Politics is Leslie, right?
Okay, we have a very quick slide on politics. Oh. Oh, well. Can you go to the other? Can you sign into again? Oh, sorry. Oops, I forgot about a quiz. So what do you think, how many parties are in the German parliament right now? That's correct. Good. And German Unity Day, if you paid attention earlier, you would know that now. Yay. Okay. And then, so with a German passport, do you get visa-free entry into how many countries? I think it's actually 189. So but that's close. It's a lot of countries. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oops. Okay, so, oops, this one's, sorry about that. So the fall of the Berlin Wall was on November 9th, 1989. And the Berlin Wall separated East and West Germany, and it was built by the communist government of East Berlin in 1961 to prevent people from fleeing East Berlin. And the fall of the wall signified the end of a divided Germany. But then Unity Day was actually, so it was actually unified 1 year later in 1990. And Angela Merkel from the CDU party is the German chancellor, and Frank-Walter Steinmeier, he's the federal president. So the difference being in Germany, the chancellor is the head of state and is chosen by the parliament and legitimized by the people. And then they are voted into office for 4 years, but that is indefinitely, so they can be re-elected every 4 years without any issues. But then the federal president is chosen by the Federal Assembly and is a representative of Germany. And his term is 5 years and he can only be re-elected once. And there are a bunch of different parties in Germany, but like we said earlier, there are only 6 in the Bundestag, which is the parliament. And you can also see a picture at the bottom that shows the parliament, how it is right now. So as you can see, Angela Merkel's party, the CDU, has a majority of seats. And since Germany is a member of the EU, we have easy entry and exit between member countries. And there are also some other perks, such as being able to study in another country without a visa or going to work there without a visa. And finally, Germany is the EU's largest economy and has a GDP of 3.4 trillion euros in 2019. Okay, that's already it about politics. And now Jana is going to talk to you about holidays and festivals in Germany.
Yes, exactly. So I'm pretty sure you've seen pictures of women wearing a dirndl, which is like a typical German dress. And there's always a ribbon around her waist. And what do you think? The woman is single when the ribbon is on the front, on the left, or on the right? What do you think? Yeah, that's true. It's actually true. And Carnival, it's not just in Rio, but also really big in Germany. So where is it like, where do most people celebrate Carnival in Germany? Which town? Do you know? It's more on the west. So it's in Cologne. So it's like a huge party over there. Not just in Cologne, but it's the biggest one. And which international music festival is actually in Germany? No. No. It's actually Lollapalooza, which is in Germany since a few years. It's always in Berlin. Okay, so now we want to talk about the Oktoberfest. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about it before. So Germans also name it the Wiesn. And although it's called Oktoberfest, it starts in September and it's the longest running anniversary celebration in history. And the first Oktoberfest was in 1810, but it was different to what it's nowadays. So back then, it was actually held in an honor of the royal wedding between Crown Prince Ludwig and Princess Therese. It's really expensive to be at the Oktoberfest because the beer prices start at $12. And in 2019, there were 6.3 million visitors and people drank about 7.5 million liters. And the Oktoberfest is usually about 16 days. So it's a huge amount, especially if you consider that the Oktoberfest beer is stronger than other German beer. And there are 17 large and 21 small tents, and you can actually see one of the big tents on the right. But it's not all about just drinking beer. So there's also a kid-friendly zone, which ferry wheels or roller coasters. And you can also see traditional Bavarian parades. And there's also a lost and found children office for kids that get separated from their parents. And during like September, October, there are really many small Oktoberfests all over Germany. People really enjoy going there. And we had the thing about the ribbon in the quiz. So if it's on the right, it says that the woman is married, engaged, or just taken. It's on the right because in Germany, people wear the wedding ring on the right hand. So you can say it like this. On the left, it means single. When it's on the back, it means that the woman is a widow, a waitress, or a child. And if it's in the front center, she's either virgin or she says that it's none of your business. So here you can see us celebrating the Oktoberfest, like the girls were wearing the dirndl. And you can see also the boys in the Lederhosen, like leather trousers. Now I want to tell you a little about Carnival. So it's also called Fastnacht or Fasching. And it starts on November 11th at 11:11 and goes until Ash Wednesday, which is then about like 3 or 4 months. And the highlight of the session are the 5 days before Ash Wednesday. And the Germanic people in the 16th century celebrated the winter solstice as a tribute to the gods and expulsion of the evil winter demons. Carnival is really huge in the areas around Cologne, Düsseldorf, and Mainz, which is more in the west of the country. And in every city that celebrates Carnival, there's a queen and a king. And there are carnival parades, and people throw Kamelle, which is actually just candy, to the people, so it's more for the children. Here you can see I'm not playing again. Hope you can. And here you can see a few pictures from us celebrating Carnival in Cologne. Also here on the top right, you can see the Cologne Dome in the background, which Eva also already showed you earlier. Leslie, can you make I can hear me. Thank you. And there are also holidays and festivals that are all year long, like fanfairs, beer festivals, or Schützenfest or Kirmes. For example, beer festivals are mainly in Franconia or Bavaria, so in the south of the country. It's a gathering of people from either the region or all over Germany, if it's a big one. And there are usually many attractions and ride. And then we have Schützenfeste, which is similar to the beer festivals, but it's usually more in the west of the country. And it's a traditional festival featuring a target shooting competition to get to know who their next king is. And usually it takes 4 to 5 days, and there are various corps like the Jägerkorps or Grenadier Corps wearing different clothes. And there are also parades of the marksmen and many fun fairs. Now we want to say something about festivals that are just once a year, like Christmas markets that are usually in November or December. And there are more than 2,500 Christmas markets in Germany, and stalls with handicrafts, jewelry, or food. And famous food on the Christmas markets are Reibekuchen, which is made of potatoes and mulled wine. And for children, we have children's punch, which is, of course, without alcohol. And then there's also St. Martin. It's to honor St. Martin. I don't know whether you heard about him, but he's the patron saint of the poor. And it's more a fest for the children with parades and homemade lanterns and St. Martin's play when he divided his coat. I don't know whether you know the story, but they usually play it there. And here you can see Leslie on a on a Christmas market. Yes, and now Eva will tell you something about German music.
So we start off with a quiz again. What music do Germans like most? Is it rock and pop, all these evergreens, or musicals? What do you think? Yes, right. Probably similar, yeah, to the US. And I know there's an English version of it, so I wanted to insert this question here. Who sings the song 99 Red Balloons? Not sure if it's, yes, right, yeah. Is it a famous song here? Okay. And then the capital Berlin is popular for its scene, for its electro-techno scene, for its rock scene, or for its musical scene. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's many techno and electro clubs in Berlin. So more basically, like, Germans listen to a lot of international American music too, a lot, and the top 5 is rock and pop, all these evergreens, and German, it's called Schlager. We listen to one later, and then musical. And also we have a lot of classical music and componists like Beethoven or Mozart. Probably heard of them. But I don't want to talk a lot about German music. I just want to show you some. So this is a pretty famous like German Schlager song. Oh, this was German Schlager. And then 99 Red Balloons in German version. And finally, there's one like hip hop rap song, Peter Fox. It's Alles Neu, which is all new in English. And then there's the last one. It's electronic and mixed with pop music. Robin Schulz.
Okay, I see. Oops. Okay, well, that was it for our presentation. After the Q&A, there's still a game for the people that are not on Zoom. So if you have any questions on Zoom right now, you can ask them now before we close out. But thank you so much for your attention. I'm sorry about all the technical difficulties again. I know it took some time until it all worked out, so I'm really sorry about that. Thank you to everyone on Zoom and in person for coming. You guys did amazing, so we should give them a round of applause. We have some German candy and treats for everyone in the bag back there. So before you leave, feel free to grab one or two. We have a lot. Take some with you. And thanks again for coming. Thank you, Mary. So you all are good to go.